Welcome, Arvind Animal Activist, to the
Thanks for
podcast.
having me. Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Thanks for coming on, man. Yeah, it's been a while. Well, you came on the live stream. I
Mm-hmm.
guess it was like how many
Half a
was I
year,
thinking?
half a year ago.
Half a year only. Feels like
Half
it
a
was
year
longer
ago.
than that. Feels like
Really?
it was longer. Yeah.
Feels 6 months. Yeah.
No, it was awesome to have you on then, and I've wanted to get you on. I've wanted to do this for a while. These kind of
Mm-hmm.
more recorded chill podcasts with people like you who are very interesting, because the live stream format it's good fun and everything, but we really have to just get to the point, because it's a live stream and it's not
Right.
designed for relaxation, right? You can't exactly chill in a
That's true.
stream,
That's true.
right? So it's definitely great to have you on here again and get into what you've been up to, actually, because I know in the past you've mainly focused on getting out to universities, and I guess for people that
Mm-hmm.
don't know you, actually, let's kind of quickly establish, like, who are you actually? So I go on,
Okay.
give us, how do you describe yourself, Arvind? Sell it to us.
So, okay, I had to sell it. My name is Arvind. I'm 29 years old. I've been a vegan now for the past 8 years, and I make content online on social media. My social media handles on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are Arvind Animal Activist. That's ARVIND, Animal Activist. I also give lectures in schools and colleges. I have done a TV show on a TV channel, two channels called Shankara TV and Ayush TV, where we broadcasted around 26 different episodes where I spoke about veganisms and various topics related to veganism. I have, in combination, I'd say almost 500,000 followers on social media, which is quite a lot. I myself am quite surprised to see that. I'm grateful that
That's awesome,
in
man.
India that this is happening. In India, if this is abroad, it's fine, but in India, so
No, it's
yeah.
huge
So
deal, man.
basically, yeah, I'm basically a very sour, bitter person who feels very bad every single day that crap is going on to the animals, and I'm doing
Yeah.
absolutely everything in my power I possibly can to reduce that as much as possible. So yeah.
One of my Indian friends, who's not a vegan, he messaged me the other day, and he sent a video of yours, and he said, "This is the Indian Earthling Ed," and he sent a link to
Oh,
one of your
great.
videos, and I was like, "Yeah," I was like, "Dude, I know Arvind. That's so cool that you
Oh.
made the connection that he's the you're the Indian, because you are you. If there's an Earthling Ed of India, it's you, clearly, right?
Yeah,
There's nobody else that
see,
would match that."
it's an honor to be compared to Earthling Ed, because to be honest, that guy has done some unbelievably incredible stuff. Like, I mean, to put it shortly, the thing about him is that he's very well mannered. You can tell
Mm,
that this guy has class. He comes from an educated, well mannered, well raised. At least that's how he carries himself. Be it
mm,
online in interviews or when he does street interviews. He is an author. He owns a sanctuary. He owns restaurants. Like, he is contributing so much to the vegan movement, and all of that is such finesse and class. So mad respect to him. So it's an honor to be called as in Indian Earthling Ed. But I would say my greatest honor was when people from abroad, non-Indians, started sharing my videos and tagging me, saying, "This is the Indian Gary Rafia." At that time, I was like,
oh
"Yeah!"
wow,
Like, again, I'm just like, to me, I'm a big Gary fanboy. So to me, I was
yeah.
like, "Yeah!" Like that. Yeah, nice to know that. Yeah, nice to see that.
Well,
Mhm.
you spent a lot of your time, isn't it, doing lectures in universities and
I don't
bouncing
remember
around in
exactly. I think
colleges
around
and
70, not much, just around 70 lectures I might have given. This is up
70.
until 2070, yeah. Till
Right, right.
2019, October was my last lecture. I was doing the TV show and they asked me to do, and I told them I want to do a few lectures in a few colleges, and they set me up for that.
Mm,
They set up cameras and stuff. So it's those lectures that you see online on social media. I've asked permission from the TV channel if I could upload those videos here, and they were like, all
mm.
right, go ahead.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I've done around
Yeah.
70 lectures. But then again, I guess once you get on social media and you realize how you can reach to a vastly
Right.
larger audience, like, it's not
Mm,
even comparable, right? Like, your video, you upload this video right now, gonna be let's say even 1,000 people watch this video, which is in the
mm,
lower spectrum when it comes to YouTube. But if I
mhm,
give a lecture, that's like 50 kids in a class. So I have to give 20 lectures to even equal them watching this one video. So
mm.
social media is on a league of its own. So
Absolutely, man. And you're big on Facebook as well. You get a lot of hits on Facebook,
yeah,
right? More
yeah.
more than any other place, I'd
YouTube and
say.
Instagram. Yes, yes, yeah.
See now, Earthling gets. We mentioned Earthling, but his Facebook, his YouTube is full of complete 100%, almost 100% support. Like, there are some videos that are a bit more dramatic and have a bit more of a split.
Right, right.
It's mostly support, but then on Facebook,
Hmm.
his videos are just, honestly, his comment section is full of just disgraceful trolls. How is that for you on Facebook? Are you seeing the same thing? Like, YouTube is mainly
Yeah.
vegan support and Facebook is troll central,
Mm,
or
I see same kind of trolling comments pretty much everywhere. Like right now
right?
on Instagram and YouTube, they're a bit less, I would say, but on Facebook, yeah, a lot of non-vegans,
Mm.
and that's good because it's the non-vegans I want to
Yeah.
engage with. Because which is good. But yeah, they are there. A lot of hateful comments, bad comments. I guess
Yeah.
since the way in which I make my videos has changed in the past 3 years, 3 4 years,
Mm.
the comments are now more so against veganism than against me. Because earlier it used to be against me. So because I
Okay.
would also make content that would kind of ask for it. So now
Right.
since I
Right.
don't do that, they're trying to more. I also don't want to make people focus on the point, because if you offend them too much, then they get distracted and they go into something else and they don't listen. They don't
Right.
want to listen to you
Right.
anymore. So yeah.
And this is where, like, I guess this the sad guru. So this was the sad guru era. I think I remember you made a video about sad guru, and
Hmm.
then you made a video roasting the people who got upset about the video with
Oh
sad
yeah.
guru.
Oh yeah.
Like, I guess, was this around the time where you started to realize, like, maybe I'm going to be less like, what's the word you would even call it? Like, I
I
don't
would
know,
say less offensive. I was being openly
offensive. Yeah.
offensive earlier. I've been very offensive in the beginning, actually. Like I used to tell people, I made a video, it went viral in Tamil Nadu. It's a Tamil video. And I told people, dude, if you're okay in taking a fish from the ocean, which is basically where we dump our poop, and eating it, why don't you take a fish from your freezer, dump it into the toilet, and then go ahead and cook and eat it? Like, what's the difference? These kind of things, I was just being mean to them, but yes, it did go viral. So I was like, fine, who cares? No, it's not then. I would say much before Sadhguru. Back in
Okay.
2019, I would say one of my videos went extremely viral,
Mm,
and suddenly I was like noticing that, and that video didn't have any kind of, you would say, like nothing that would ruffle people's feathers, just
okay.
facts, straight to the point and stuff. And people were listening, so I was like, why not try this from now on? So I
Mm,
would say, yeah, around 2019 end to 2020 is when I slightly, very slightly started to change my approach.
right.
And I'm not
Right.
saying it's
Right.
the best approach or the right approach. It's working as of now, so as of now, I'm using it. That's it.
Sure. Yeah.
But
Sure.
yes, no,
That
some
makes sense.
vegans are sensitive. Some vegan activists are like, oh no, now he's all soft. He's an apologist. He's not gonna go hard on them. It's not like that. I don't have anything against people who do go hard on the non-vegans and stuff. I used to
Right.
be that
Right.
too. I just want to clarify that I'm doing it because as of now, it's working. If it stops working in the
Mhm.
future, I'll go back. So that's the
Yeah, you're
point.
just
Yeah.
trying something new, trying something a little bit different. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And it's not
And
like
it's
you're
working.
saying,
No, it
yeah,
works. The point is that that's the major thing. It's working. So why
yeah.
mess with it right now?
It's not like you're saying to people, I mean, there's a difference between going from hardcore, like offensive, to then going
Hmm.
to, hey, you do you and I'll do me. And maybe you can reduce a little bit, but that's,
Nah,
whatever. This is a very, you're not doing that.
yeah,
That's
not
where I
half.
think,
No, I'm not half
yeah,
taking the argument. I'm just not being as rude as before. That's it.
I've got it. I've
It's
got it.
still
Yes.
in your face. It's still in your face, but it's not rude. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's fine, dude. I think at the
Yeah.
end of the day, we are people, and our positions change. Like, I've gone
Hmm.
from I've had a recent change myself. I went from like kind of swearing quite a lot and going down that road, and then now I don't really feel like swearing anymore. So I'm kind of not writing swear words into my videos so much now, because I'm feeling, I don't know, I'm kind of like over it. Like, it was fun for a while, but now I'm like, eh.
Right.
And then
Right.
maybe in a couple of weeks, couple of months, I'll watch some more Ricky Gervais, and I'll be like dropping the C
Uh,
bomb, dropping the C bomb a
yeah.
bit more again.
Speaking of him, yeah. So since you recommended to me, I did watch Afterlife. I finished the first two seasons. They were
Okay.
really, really good, really nice. A third season, we saw the first episode, and I was like, something feels off. Like I don't know why it
Mm,
is. I First episode of third season, like the major characters, the Roxy and Sandy, they're missing, and like it
mm,
just didn't feel like the previous two seasons. I don't know. I just we watched the first two. It's really good. The first two are really good,
uh.
but didn't give season three another chance after that.
I guess it's because you're watching them back to back. So for us, we watched them when they came out, so we didn't see
Ah,
that, right? So from season 2 to season 3, we had a big break. So I guess for us, it was just nice to get back in again. But for
right,
you, it's
right,
been a bit
right.
like, we did the same thing with Dexter. We're watching Dexter right now. We're at season
Mm-hmm.
6, and we watched them back to back, one through 5. And for season 5, I think it was, or 4, because we watched them back to back, it was very clear that there was a different writer and a different director,
Ah,
and the directing and the editing and the writing was just terrible. The camera work was terrible. Everything was terrible, and we kind of got through it because the story was good. But the way that it was, like, the story was good, but the script was bad. It's a good story. It's a good hook. It
okay,
had
it's
good,
presented badly, yeah, basically.
but it was scripted badly. The way they spoke to
Badly.
each
Okay,
other was
right, right.
weird. The scenes went on for too long. There weren't enough cuts in the cat. It was just very unusual. And because we were and then they went back to the original guys, I think, because then the next seasons were great after. So yeah, when you watch back to back, I think that definitely happens, right? You
Is
can
it is
spot
it
these
is it
things.
worth watching? You think Dexter is worth watching because we haven't seen it
Oh
yet?
man. Oh
It's
hell.
really good,
Oh
isn't
my
it?
god. It's so good. It's so. You know what it's
Okay.
about, right?
My friends told me it's about this. A dad teaches a son like to kill bad people. That's all I know. Something like that. He tries to
He's a
kill people.
so basically, long story. He's a serial killer because he's got problems. He's a serial killer. He kills animals when he's young, and his dad catches him, and he finds that he's got these killer instincts and that he wants to kill people. So he channels it and sharpens it into,
Right, right,
okay, he's a police officer, so it's like, just kill these people that deserve it, right? So then he
right, right.
grows up, and this is what he's doing. So it's great for people who are interested in moral argumentation, like vegans. We talk about
Okay,
morals,
right,
what's
right.
morally right and wrong. So if you're into that kind of discussion, then it's a great series, because you're left questioning yourself, because you're like, wait a minute, I hope he kills this guy, but then it's like, but that's kind of wrong, isn't it? Like,
I
no,
get it. I get it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a
it's a
moral
bad
dilemma.
guy
Yeah,
though. Yeah, it's like a bad guy killing worse guys. That's basically what
yeah.
it's
Okay,
it's
okay.
great though. It's fantastic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Really,
I'll give
really
it a
cool.
shot. We can give it a shot. Yeah.
So I want to get into something with you. I was curious
Uh
to
huh.
get your thoughts on this. So there's a you're still in contact or in connection with like the Indian vegan world, right? You know what's going on more or less there, like what people are talking about, and you
Not
know,
much really. Not much. No, no.
not
The
much.
weird thing is I'm no longer part of the community that much. Like, of course, I'm in touch
Okay,
with the people.
yeah,
I'm not taking part in any activities. Not any group. Like, there's a vegan India movement. There are many other things taking place in India. I
right,
don't exactly contribute anything necessarily to it. If I can help a few activists in some way or the other, I try to help them if they reach out to
right.
me.
So,
But
so,
that's
so
pretty much it. Yeah.
maybe you don't know about this then, but I'm actually going to have a guy on. I'm not going to name him yet because
Mhm.
I'll let him come on and talk to me himself. We're going to arrange this in a few weeks. Another activist in India, but
Mhm.
there seems to be him and a few others,
Mhm.
more than a few actually. It seems there's quite a good little group of people who are talking about really focusing their efforts on slaughterhouse workers and people working in farms, and how they are actually victims, and then attacking people who say they are not, attacking people who say they are. These people are oppressing animals and things like this. And there seems to be I mean, we've had this pushover in the West a little while back, and it kind of fizzled out. And it feels like now it's kind of rising in India, especially, where people are starting to. What is your take on this, dude? I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but like,
No, that's
as
fine.
you know, and you know, because you know how slaughter. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in India. I know how slaughterhouses work and farms work. That maybe a lot of
Mhm.
people don't. Um, but yeah, what's your take on this idea of these people being victims?
So my answer would be quite long, in fact, because we have to look at this through various angles. So
Mm,
firstly, can you call them a victim? Well, they are a victims of a system they're born into.
mm-hmm.
And these people, it really depends on who they actually are. Like, are we talking about the people who are actually doing the killing, the ones holding the knives and actually killing the animals, or
Yeah,
are we
yeah,
talking about them? Okay.
yeah.
So it really we have to look into the family background. You can't just make a
Mm,
blanket statement saying that every single person is a victim, because
right.
there are people out there who do have a choice. Because I know I studied in a pretty good school. It's a good school,
Yeah.
and one of my classmates chose to have a chicken farm. So he
Right.
had a choice not to. He went into it
Mm,
because it's lucrative. So you
right.
cannot
Right.
say he's a victim of his circumstances. So you
Yeah.
can't just put a blanket statement and say everyone is like that. Now, with that being said, so he would actually raise chickens. He would kill them with his own hands. He would do that. So this guy is definitely not a victim. He could have chosen to, I
Mm,
don't know, go into an IT business or something else like everybody else, but he chose to go into this route, right?
mhm,
So he's not
mm,
a victim. Now, there are, if you go outside and see right now, the dairy farms or even the slaughterhouses around where I live, majority of the people who run them, who kill the animals, are poor people. I
mhm,
can many times see many teenagers or women from impoverished backgrounds living there inside these places and killing the animals.
mm,
So these people do not have a choice. They are doing it because that's the only way in which they can earn an income. They
mhm,
probably have been trying to search many places, and perhaps it's been handed down to them generation after generation, because
mm.
in India that's how things mainly work. Because previously, due
Yeah.
to the caste system, caste is basically based on what work you do. Your caste
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
assigned based on your work. So they have been doing this in their caste forever.
Mm,
So with that being said, those people are a victim to the system, but it's not the same. You see, look here. We have, when we say the word victim, it kind of trivializes what the animals go through, because there are
mm,
two kinds of victims here. One is the one who's forced to do the killing. Okay,
mhm,
they're not being held at gunpoint. It's not like Squid Games where there is
mhm.
that guy with a black mask holding a gun to your head, telling the guy with the pink shirt to shoot the player.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you kill him or I kill you. that's a victim. But no one's holding a gun to these killers' heads and telling them, kill the animals or I'll kill you. Hey, I pay
Mm,
you with money and kill the animals. So it's so when you say that they are also victims in the same sentence with the animals,
right.
it kind of tones down what the animals are going through, and they are the actual victims in this. Because just
Mm,
saying, if I were a slaughterhouse worker right now, say I didn't have a choice or anything, and suddenly I
hmm
choose not to kill animals, it's not like I'll immediately drop dead. It's not like I'll immediately starve
mm,
to death. Yes, I'll have some money. I can still try to find some food. I can try to go and do some other work. I'll have to go out of my way, take some risks. It may fail, whatever. So
yeah, yeah.
they are, I think they are victims, I agree, but I mean, you got to now classify on levels of victimhood. Who's the bigger victim here,
Mm.
right? They don't fall under the same level as the animals do. I think you want to add
It's
something
kind of
there.
interesting, yeah. It's interesting that I feel like there's also a level of the vegans tend to be the ones who make the claim to say, "Hey, look, you shouldn't treat humans like they're like superior in all ways, and treat animals like less than." I mean, obviously we're different, and we wouldn't give a chicken a driving license. Obviously, we're superior in some ways, but this kind of like supremacy idea of human supremacy or whatever, a lot of vegans are against that, and they'll say like, I won't hurt a human, so I wouldn't hurt an animal, and I wouldn't treat them differently in the ways that matter, right? But when it comes to
Mm-hmm,
this, a lot of vegans do fall into this trap of treating them differently, because if somebody went and shot dead another person, and it
mm-hmm,
turned out they shot them dead to rob them because they had no money and were homeless, you wouldn't call the shooter a victim,
mm-hmm.
right? You wouldn't
Right,
say that, oh,
exactly.
they're a victim of our system. No, you would say, no, they're a murderer. They went out, they chose to do that, even though technically they still were forced into that situation by the system that made them
Right,
homeless
right.
or whatever. But we would never in court or in any scenario say, well, I mean, yeah, they shot and murdered that person, but they were also a victim. We would never say it. We would say extreme circumstances led to them committing a horrendous crime. We would
Mm-hmm,
give them that. That's where the empathy comes in. Okay, I understand you were in a horrendous position. You did something that was horrendous too, but it doesn't justify it. Whereas when it comes to this animal situation, the slaughterhouses, it feels like that's not what's being said. It feels like what's being said is, stop demonizing these people because they are as much of a victim. That's what the message is coming
yeah,
across.
when you say as much, the whole that's the key word. They're not as
Sure,
much as a victim. That's the whole point. They're not
sure,
being. They don't face that as much as repercussions as an animal faces if they chose
well,
not to kill the animals.
not even close, not even close.
And
And
close,
and then
exactly, yeah.
the whole idea of like not demonizing them, like, okay, don't treat them like they're bad people. It's like, well, okay, would you say the
Okay,
same thing
I
to that
have
murderer that shoots the
two
man
points
dead?
to make on that. So first
Yeah.
things first is these people in a way do have other options. Necessity is the mother of
Mm,
invention. As long as one is comfortable in doing what they're doing right now, they're not going to go make a change. Okay, only when they're forced to do so will they do so. I have a friend who lives near Chennai. He has helped close down over 20 different beef stalls where they used to kill the
wow.
cows and the calves early in the morning. And this guy's gotten death threats. People have tried to kill him and all this stuff. But now, when you go, the same people whose beef stalls are now closed and sealed, they now hold a tender coconut stall there. They have moved on to another business. They now sell
Yeah.
vegetables and fruits over there. I can send you photos if you want of a before and after of the same people what they're doing right now. I even visited those places. I just earlier this year.
Yeah.
So
It's
they
amazing.
do have options. I know people again personally who had their shops forcefully shut down, and right now, since necessity is the mother. See, when your shop is shut down, you have to now scramble to survive. So you
Mm,
end up setting up a tender coconut stall. You end up setting up a juice stall or something else. These are actually vegan options. Accident. They didn't choose them to be vegan, but they did end up becoming vegan options. So
mm.
it's not like these people don't have a choice. They too are just comfortable in their comfort zone. Okay, there. It's not like these people are like, oh my god. Before they kill an animal, they're like sobbing. Oh my god, I have to kill this poor creature. I wish I could do something else. Oh god, please. No, they're not doing that. So, like, so why are we again, when you ask me, are they victims? I'll say yes, they are victims, but we have to label levels of victimhood, right? Like I told
Mhm.
you that example from Squid Games. You know, you've seen Squid Games, right? You even made a
Yeah,
reference
of
in one of your
course.
videos, I think. Yeah, yeah. So, like, there are the soldiers, the pink soldiers. There is the front men, right? The pink soldier. You realize as you watch it, the pink soldiers are actually victims themselves. You
Mm,
realize that as you're watching it, the front men and the old man are the actual people on top. The others are
mm.
just victims. So, and if they don't listen to what's being told on top, they are shot and killed. Now, that is even though the pink people kill the players, they are victims themselves because if they don't kill the players, they die. You're following me so far?
Yeah, but they're also getting paid, and they're volunteers. They chose to
No,
be there.
we don't, because that wasn't revealed yet. I presume they're not volunteers. I presume they were kidnapped. Supposing that we presume they are kidnapped and put over there, right? So in that scenario, if that is a scenario, we can
Okay,
agree
okay,
that both are victims of circumstance, right?
sure. If they're kidnapped, and yeah, sure.
Equally, because you're now forced to do a evil person's bidding, else you'll be killed yourself. Fair enough.
Yes,
But that is not the scenario for slaughterhouse workers. So calling
no,
them a victim completely undermines what the animals are going through. And number two, you're saying that we are demonizing the person who makes this claim. I'm saying is from a,
yes, yes.
I'm very sure, far left wing intersectional approach
Of course, yeah.
vegan. Yeah, I
Mhm.
wanted to throw in another vulgarity, but I just decided to swallow that word. So I'm pretty sure that's what they are. So what I'm
Yes.
saying is that when they say you are demonizing slaughterhouse workers, I would like to ask, who is demonizing slaughterhouse workers? I have not come across a single post demonizing slaughterhouse workers. And even if, let's say, suppose out of anger, like I saw that day a pig being taken away, like
Mm.
feet tied up, mouth gagged, and stuff. And there was a guy singing songs and taking the pig away on a scooter. And I was thinking to myself, fuck this guy. I hope he crashes and gets killed somewhere.
Yeah.
If I made a post tomorrow saying that fuck these people, let them all die, yeah, that's one post I'm making out of anger. No one is demonizing them. Veganism is not demonizing them. So where does this
Mm.
idea even come from the fact that vegans demonize it? Can I understand that?
Mm. And the thing is, even if they were, it's like I've said, there's definitely a big divide between even vegans, between humans and animals. Because okay, let's have a look at the Russia situation right now. The Russians are
Mm-hmm.
killing Ukrainians. No one is saying those poor Russian soldiers that have been forced. Because in Russia, if you dissent, that they're sending you to jail, right? So if you
Right,
refuse
right.
to go, if you refuse to do what they say, they'll jail you, right?
Yeah,
No
right.
one's looking at the Russian shooting a Ukrainian family and saying that poor Russian. And when people say fuck those Russian soldiers, fuck Putin, fuck all these people, they someone should kill their families, blah blah blah. People are saying this stuff, but that's accepted, right? No, not many
Right.
people are arguing against that. So my point is that when vegans, which some vegans do say this stuff, when vegans are looking into this and saying, hey, fuck that slaughter worker, fuck these people who are killing animals. They're horrible, they're monsters or whatever, they are scumbags. All of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden, people who are on the same side of the coin, like vegans, some vegans are running to their defense, as if these words online are harming these
Yeah,
people.
to make it different. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Far left
Yeah,
wing nut jobs. Yeah, far left wing nut jobs.
yeah,
They're just behaving like they usually do, like idiots. That's it. So I don't take them seriously anymore. I don't really care what they
no,
say.
yeah,
And I'm going really out of my place serious right now. Again, I don't even know whom you're talking about. Okay, but
sure,
I would
yeah,
just go out of context and just say that I'm pretty sure this person is not even contributing much to the vegan movement in India either. I'm just
sure.
going to go on a limb and say that. I don't even know who you're
Well,
talking
we'll
about.
see.
So,
We'll see.
we'll
We'll see.
see.
Because
We'll see.
somebody is coming on the podcast, and because I want to bring these things up. I'm bringing them up with you because I kind of had an instinctive feeling that you would be on the same side of this, and I wanted to get your opinions. And this individual is going to be on the other side, so we'll see. We'll clash our ideas together and see what comes up and see where this is coming from, because I find it
Yeah, and
intriguing.
if you could ask me one question on my behalf, my question is that
Hmm,
what makes these people conclude that vegan activists are demonizing slaughterhouse? What do you define demonizing? Like
demonize.
that's a strong word,
I
demonizing.
suppose
We're
it's just it's
demonizing them.
yeah, I suppose it's just that, like, vegans on the whole, I mean, it is true that we harshly judge these people, and that most of us would consider them to be somewhat most vegans would consider them to be somewhat evil, if not fully evil, like fully horrendous
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
people. And in the sense of what they do as a job, that's accurate. That their job is
That's true. Yes,
evil.
yes,
Their
yes,
job, they're
yes.
doing
Correct.
something absolutely horrific and horrendous. As far as them outside of their job, um, I mean, are they evil in every part of life? Probably not. But in terms of what they
Exactly.
do
Yeah.
day to day, yes, they are very, very. There's a very evil thing they're doing, and I guess another differentiator would be: are they enjoying what they're doing? And some of these individuals that are arguing in favor to help these people would say, well, if they're enjoying it, it's because they've conditioned themselves to enjoy it, and they're still a victim. Whereas it's kind of like, well, then you know, are you going to apply that to Russian soldiers? Are you going to apply that to the Nazis?
See,
Are you going to
no,
apply that? You know what I
this
mean? And the answer is
it
no.
don't,
So
because it's called speciesism, and even
right,
vegans can
exactly.
be
Yeah.
extremely speciesistic. And the
Mm,
fact is that no matter what, in the end of the day, it's your own species here that's suffering, and it's an animal. So even if it's your own species that's tormenting and killing someone else who's not your species, you
mm,
look at your species as a victim because they are your species. And just because the actual victim is not your species, you think, well, they're like, you can, we always unknowingly, even among vegans, place animal lives below human lives. Because, like you said, if
mm.
forget even animals, if the victim was a dog or a cat, people wouldn't say that. They wouldn't say
Absolutely,
that.
absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
only when the chickens and
Stop.
pigs and cows and goats. That's it. That's
Stop
it. It's
demonizing.
speciesism.
Stop demonizing
Yeah,
these dog fighters. Okay, they're doing what they need to do. They put these dogs fighting against each other because they need to make a living wage. It's not. It's not their fault. They were born into this capitalist system. These dog fighters,
exactly.
cockfighters, chicken fighters, dog fighters. These people that torture animals for money or whatever, or to sell the videos to people with sick fetishes. Look, they're just trying to live in this capitalist system, okay? Capitalism is the enemy, Arvind. Do you not realize that? Fuck.
Yeah, that's I think the whole anti-capitalist argument. But then, look, here's my one thing though. If you the person you're
Yeah.
bringing up is a vegan, right? The person you're going to
Yeah, yeah,
call
yeah,
is a
yeah, yeah.
vegan. So
And
even
you
if
know,
they're vegan, there
this
are many
person,
nut jobs who are non-vegans who make the statement. By the way, what you're saying, there are
no, this
non-vegans who make they are the
this
annoying ones.
person, by the way, just
Uh-huh.
FYI, this person and a lot of these people making these points, it's not like they
Hmm.
only make these points. There are really good vegan posts and vegan arguments they make, and they get into debates with non-vegan. You know, they're not. There are people out there, and this person I'm just referring to here in particular
Hmm.
makes some really good pro-vegan posts. It's just these ones are also peppered in there with between all these good posts, and then I'm like, what is this, you know? And which is why I invited him on to come and talk to me on the podcast to find out like what's inspiring you to say these things about. Is it necessary? Is it helpful? Am I missing something? You know,
Right, right, right.
I want to find out. Am I missing something here? But I've got a sneaky suspicion that it's misguided at best. Let's say that. I'm not going to be too harsh. I'll wait till we've spoken to
Hmm.
make my firm, final decision on it. But
True, true.
yeah, it seems a bit mad. It seems a bit mad. I find that vegans in general, and I don't want this to be just shitting on vegans podcast, but it does feel like we, uh, as a I don't know, not community, but just as vegans as people, tends to try to like out woke each other quite a lot. Do you ever find this? Like it's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say in an Indian context, it's like showing that I'm more purer than you. They want to show that they're the
right.
purest of all vegans.
That's a
And the
great. Yeah.
weirdly enough, it is the ones who are against Brahmin purity that try to keep showing that they are the more purer ones among the vegan community.
Mm,
Ironically enough. But yeah, that constantly exists, and it's not only amongst the point that you spoke, such as
mm,
what about slaughterhouse workers? Like if you put a picture saying that, oh, I ate this mock meat, oh, you eat mock meat, how disgusting. I don't even need to eat mock meat. Like who cares? Who asked that point? Like everyone's
right.
trying. I eat only healthy food. I'm a healthy vegan. I'm this vegan, that vegan, this way better than you. Like it's, and that's why I'm telling you. Like, see, the thing is about veganism is to be a vegan in and of itself requires a lot of courage and determination because you're
Yeah.
choosing to go against the grain, stand up against your family and friends, and stand with your convictions strongly, boldly, speak up for the most abused creatures on earth. So
Mm,
vegans by themselves have such strong convictions and determination. I would say almost any vegan. So when it comes to the small intricacies of differences that we see between ourselves, we tend to hold on to those even stronger as well. Like we want to show to you, no, I'm right even in this as well. And I want you to understand why I'm right. Like we are so focused on that.
mm,
And I must admit that I too was like that, very much trying to focus. I wanted other vegans to have the exact same belief I did in every other thing.
mm,
Like, oh, I'm an atheist. I'm an atheist. You're not an atheist. Like, I used to be like that at one point. But then I realized, like, oh, what is veganism about? What am I trying to do? I'm trying to help animals. So
mm,
who cares if someone's an atheist? Like the person you said right now, who has this belief, there are many vegans I know who'll be like, "Oh my God, how dare he have this belief? No, I must argue with him, respond to every single post he makes. You're like, I
mm,
want to debate him and do this." I'm like, chill, let him have his opinion. I think it's crazy. I don't agree with it. I don't even want to engage with it. For me, right now at this point, I'm like, I want to focus all of my energy into making non-vegans into vegans because that's all that matters. Nothing else, to be honest, unless the vegan is going to say shit like, "Let's put chickens into bigger cages." Then I
right,
have to
right,
speak
right.
against the vegan. Or like when Robin Singh said that clean milk campaign or veganish, then I have to speak against the vegans.
Mm.
But a vegan having one or two different opinions than me on certain things, because again, like you said, let's just say hypothetically, I am demonizing slaughterhouse workers. Like you said, how does that really affect them? Nothing. Similarly,
Yeah.
this person here is saying that I am demonizing slaughterhouse workers. How does that affect me? It doesn't. He doesn't have to agree with me. It's all right. He can have
Mhm.
a different opinion. As long as non-vegans are being changed into vegans and we focus and work on that despite our differences, at this point, I
Mm.
honestly don't care anymore. Like, so.
Yeah, I worry that that what it is it's sort of this, it's like over compassion. It's like people think that they become a vegan because they think
Mm-hmm,
that it's like it's a compassionate move. I'm doing this for compassion, and what I think is that yes, okay, for most people that is going to work, at least a certain level of empathy, compassion, emotion, because most people are driven by emotion. That's true. But then there comes a time where it seems to go overboard, where vegans start to have compassion for. We need to have compassion in every single thing that we do and say. Otherwise, we're a fake vegan. That's what the
mm-hmm,
kind of the message seems to be. So it's like if you don't have compassion for slaughterhouse workers, you're a fake vegan because veganism is about compassion. And to the point where some animal rights organizations, again, I won't name names. I've already said enough about them in the past. They actually had events. I'm talking animal
mm-hmm.
rights organization held events in support of slaughter workers at slaughterhouses. Like this happened. I don't know if you know about this. Do you know about this?
Uh, I think I've heard. Okay, wait. I know who we're talking about.
This
Okay, which
legit
is
happened.
for okay
Legit.
for the slaughterhouse workers. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, see,
like so
that's when I can add
it's
some things to this.
mental.
So first
It's
thing, that's
absolutely
a big
mental.
it's mental, it's stupid. But the first thing is because they have wrongly changed the. See, I'm telling you right now, what's happening is that veganism is merely just one identity that me and you have. I'm a vegan, I'm an Indian. You're a vegan, you're from England. So these are, again, no matter what happens, you will be an Englishman, I will be an Indian man. And you might have your own political beliefs, religious beliefs, and I have my own. Now,
Mm,
what we are trying to do is unknowingly, we also have our political beliefs, and there are people in our vegan movement, especially the far left wing political believing people, who want to enforce their political beliefs into veganism. They're twisting the definition of veganism to suit their political beliefs so they can then be the moral judge and judge everyone who doesn't agree with them on every single thing they
mm,
say. Okay, and then
mhm,
ostracize them, silence them, do whatever they want, belittle them. And basically, my point is this: these veganism is not about compassion. Yes, when I see an animal suffering, I do feel bad for the animal. I have empathy, blah blah blah, whatever. But veganism is fundamentally based on rock solid logic, reasoning, and scientific evidence. We have these three completely
mhm.
on our side. It's not based on compassion. Even if there is a person who doesn't have an ounce or shred of empathy for any animal on earth or any other creature other than himself or herself, this person is still morally obligated to be a vegan just through logic alone. It's not
Mhm.
based on compassion. It isn't based on
Yeah.
compassion. It's not based on like me choosing to be a benign person. No, it's because I wouldn't want anybody to harm me the same way I harm animals. So what justification do I have to harm them? Those
Yeah.
answers don't make any sense. Therefore, now I'm obligated to be a vegan. So, but if you
Mhm.
can just slightly twist the definition and say, oh my God, veganism is based on compassion. Okay. Now you can start asking, you must now behave in the exact same way I feel. If I
Mhm.
empathize with some group, you must empathize with them. If you don't, you're a horrible person. So that's
Yeah.
what they're
Yeah.
twisting the definition. These people are merely twisting the definition of veganism. Veganism is
Yeah.
not based on empathy or compassion. That's wrong.
And they're twisting these individuals out there. They're not just twisting the definitions of veganism, but twisting the definitions of many, many things. And the unfortunate result of this is you find a good majority of people who
Mhm,
the majority. This is a hot take, I guess, but try and
mhm.
prove me wrong. Not you, but anybody listening who thinks I'm wrong. I know
Okay.
you're going to agree with this. The majority of people on this planet and the entire world, entire population, are conservative, traditional. Okay, that this is where they fit. Vegans point to like, oh, look at the progressive movements. Look how well they're doing. Look at like I know BLM. Look at the trans. These are minority groups, right? The
Extreme
majority,
minorities.
extreme
Extreme minority.
the majority of the entire world, when you get out, especially if you get out of the West, it's even more conservative and even more traditional. So we're trying to appeal to these conservative traditional people. Like, you've got two choices: either try to tell them that all their politics and all their beliefs are wrong and they should be a progressive, like you, the BLM trans rights activist, right? Which, good luck. Or you tell them your conservative traditional values can totally coincide with being a vegan, or not being a transphobe, or just being nice to LGBT people, being nice to black people. You don't have to tell them to rewrite all their beliefs. You just have to adjust them slightly and say, hey, look, be a conservative traditional. That's fine. Just don't abuse anyone. And as a vegan, obviously, I'm focusing on animals, but wherever you stand for, you don't need to rip apart their politics to have them just be respectful, right? But
Right. Let me.
unfortunately, yeah,
I'll
yeah,
tell you
yeah.
why it's happening. I'll tell you why it's happening. So first things first is majority of these people who do hold this belief that you're talking about. Let's keep a name for
Mm.
them. Intersectional vegans. I don't think you want that name. Let's. I don't know.
Ideologues. I call them
Far left vegans.
I call them
Okay.
intersectional ideologues or woke ideologues, because there are
Oh,
woke. Okay, I suppose woke is a pejorative. I think woke goes all right, but if you're going to say intersectional, and for me, the word intersectional is not a pejorative. I don't see it as an insult. What I see as an insult is an intersectional ideologue, because intersectionals by themselves, I've met great intersectional vegans who are just genuinely good at what they
have
do. They
you?
they
Have you?
absolutely do. They're able to balance multiple
Okay.
things. They're able to talk about multiple
Okay.
things. They don't attack anyone who disagrees with them on what they're doing. There are people out there who genuinely just care about like multiple things, so they try to bring it all together, and it's fine. But they're a minority of these individuals. Let's be
Well,
honest.
it's nice to hear that you've met such people because every
Yeah.
single person I've met under that label has been completely cuckoo in the head.
Well,
Not a single one has been sensible
the
to me.
thing is,
Not
we
one
got to.
single one.
The thing is, we got to be careful, because the loudest are often the ones that we see the most of. So, for example,
Hmm.
people think vegan, they think vegan teacher, and that vegan teacher is
Hmm.
not representative of vegans. There are loads of
The entire
vegans who are like,
exactly, yeah.
right. So it's the same with intersectional vegans too, or whatever you want to call them, whatever they call themselves. The loudest ones are often the most fucking idiotic ones, and unfortunately, for the ones who are actually doing really well and actually doing this the way that that sounds good on paper. Like, on paper it sounds great. I care about all these things, so I'm gonna try and I tie them in together sometimes, and I use them to elevate each other. And for example, for me, I would be considered, not by these idiots, but by some people, I'd be considered an intersectional vegan. Why? Because when I talk about animals, I sometimes mention that also, in addition to all the horrible things that happen to animals, do you know what happens to these workers? They get PTSD, they get depression, they have violent tendencies from the work they do. So this is killing animals, and it's messing up people's psyches. It's fucking up people up
Right,
too.
right, right.
That's an intersectional approach, even though I am not pro the ideologue way of doing it, which is that we call these people victims. They're not victims, but they do suffer psychological impacts from the work they're doing. And why not
Hmm.
bring that up? It just bolsters the argument for the animals, that not only does it hurt the animals, it also messes with humans too. I don't see a problem with that. So
Right,
that's
right,
what I
right. I
would
get it.
consider to be like positive way of doing it. But that's not the
Intersectional approach.
way
Okay.
the
Right.
ideologues do it. So I would
Right.
go
So
for
the
intersectional
point
ideologues.
ideologue. Okay. So the point I want to make is that many of these ideologues think that their method works because the
Mm,
only thing they see is social media. Understand that majority of the people who use social media come from an educated. Like look at India right now. I use Facebook and many other things, but
mm,
that's because I come from a upper middle class background who has access to
mhm,
internet connection and all these things. I speak English, and so we think in this line, this modern liberal way of thinking. I'm capable of understanding what they say. So, but social media, even though there are millions of people on it, represents only a fraction of humanity, a
mm,
fraction of humanity. So, the majority of the people, as you stated, are conservative and they don't use social media. So, just because you make your whatever pro intersectional post on social media, and you have many people coming now and commenting and saying they like it, they support it, that still just you feel happy in your own bubble. Like they're in this
mm.
tiny, it's like the frog in the well saying that the well is the world. That's the biggest place in the world. It's
Yeah,
never left the
yeah.
well, lives in its own bubble and saying, "Oh, this is the world. I'm so happy. Look how many frogs there are." Well, you're a small well, a few tiny frogs. Look at the grand world. Look at the grand scheme of things. There are so many
Mm,
people, and they will not agree with you. So it is sadly that I think they're looking at the success they have on social media and
mm,
judging that to be like as a global statement of how successful they are as a movement. That's first of all, that's not true. And
mm.
second thing is, if you really want to know how successful you are as a movement, I don't care which movement you are, even like veganism,
Yep.
go online on media. Okay, go to a news channel and see how what reaction you get from the public based on that. That tells you, because not everyone's on social media. Everyone doesn't watch you on YouTube or something on Instagram or whatever, but everyone watches TV. Almost everyone watches TV and the news.
True,
So
true.
that's when you realize really what the majority of opinions are. Now, I'm not saying that the opinions that these people hold, these international ideologues, are wrong. They are pro LGBT rights. I am too. Okay. They are pro
Mhm.
women's rights. I am too. Of course, we agree with these things. If I didn't, if
Mm.
how could I be against speciesism and then say no, it's all right to be homophobic? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
It
it
goes.
wouldn't make any sense though.
Is it possible to be a homophobic vegan? It is, but logically, it's completely inconsistent. It's so I cannot do that. Now,
Mm.
those are all good things, but that is not how I see them using this intersectional things. It is mostly used to say that, hey, your ancestors did some shit to mine in the past, okay?
Mm.
Or my ancestors also did shit to some other people's ancestors in the past. And therefore, now I must not
You
speak
can't have an
about
opinion.
animal rights,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I
Yeah.
must allow the people who were oppressed in the past to speak about animal rights. Whether that person is an effective activist or not, that person could be a complete fucking moron, wouldn't know how to communicate properly about animal rights or anything.
Yeah.
They'll probably
Yeah.
just sit there and talk about trans rights instead of animal rights. But no, I'm not supposed to talk because oh my goodness, my parents are Brahmins and they've done bad things. So what? How does this make sense?
You know,
Where's the logic in this?
it's identity politics. It's that your opinions are valid or invalid depending on who you are and how you were born. And you know, I watched this YouTuber the other day, and he made this great introduction where he was talking about he's a supervillain, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
he what the things that he is like, he is the biggest supervillain, and I really connected with it because he was saying, right. So he said, they went through the labels he's been given. So, and I've been given these labels too by certain individuals. So I've had Nazi, homophobe, sexist, misogynist, racist, transphobe. I think I've had transphobe. I don't know. Maybe I have. Maybe I hadn't. I can't remember. Bigot. Okay, so it's like you get to a point where you're like, I am a supervillain, right? I must be,
Oh,
and it's hilarious because it's like, you know, add those things together, and wow, I mean, that is a fucking CV. That's a
that's a
resume and a half.
horrible person. Yeah.
Yeah, and the point is like you just said, the reason I've been called all these things. I mean, I'll sit here now and I'm happy to outwardly say that I am supportive of of all people who are in some way oppressed, and you show me someone who's oppressed, show me someone who's struggling, and I would say I want to support, you know, them and their fight. And maybe I wouldn't go out and be an activist. I focus on animals, but you know, if we're going to discuss it philosophically or whatever, yes, I'm supportive of individuals who are, you know, minority groups, and getting them rights if they don't have rights. I think that's a good thing, and helping them be considered, you know, a member of society who's respected. That's a good thing. I think it's great. Respect. I don't hold any kind of strong religious views against certain groups or whatever. Like I'm pretty much an atheist, agnostic. You know what I mean? I'm not driven
Mm-hmm.
by these things. I'm very progressive, but to these people, I am I am just as bad as a literal like a neo-Nazi, and I guess you've had the same thing too. And these are the ideologues we're talking about. This is what I mean when I say ideologue, because only
Yeah,
an
yeah.
ideologue would come to that conclusion, right?
See,
Is there?
there's some irony in this because I'm pretty sure it might even work for you in the UK there.
Mm,
You're in Finland right now, but the
sure,
point is that the
it's the
majority
West.
of the West, yeah, these left wing people, at least here in India,
Uh-huh.
they accuse me of things that I am even not. Like, okay, of course, you can call me if you want a homophobe, racist, whatever, blah blah blah. But then they say that I am a pro right wing BJP. BJP is the one of the parties
Right,
here, supporter. I'm not. You're
right,
calling me
right.
something I'm not even that. And then they say like, oh, I've always seen him speaking up for Modi. Modi is the current prime minister. I'm like, I never have. Like, so now you're just making shit up about me. Another thing is like, oh, Arvind's a pro Brahmin. Like, dude, I am an atheist since I was 11 years old. What are you
Mm,
talking about? Like, it's like, see, again, the thing is this. They have made it up in their mind. If I make it up in my mind right now to hate you, like nothing you can say is going to convince me. I decided I am going to hate you. Now
mm.
I'm just going to look for reasons to hate you. I'm going to look for various lies that I can spread about you to others to make them also hate you and make sure you're sad and everyone hates you. So if I've made up my mind, no matter what you say, I will not be convinced. Then what's the point, right?
I think blowing this open, it's not just vegans who are dealing with this. Actually, it's like this little beehive of very angry, very annoying bees, and there's the rest of us out there, right? So there's only a small beehive, but because they're so fast and so stingy, they can really, really annoy everybody. And when I say annoy, I mean they're making people lose their jobs, they're making people lose their careers, friends. It's really, they can have a big impact on people, but they are still just a small little beehive. And when you hit the beehive, they come for you. And that's not just in the vegan world, animal rights world. It's literally just in real life right now. And I think people are sick of it. And I think part of what I do on my channel, and part of what I've done before, and I'm going to do more of moving forward, is to give people a place where actually we're talking about this stuff, and maybe they're not vegan, but they can empathize, they can connect with what we're going through as vegans, even though they think we're part of this. By the way, they think we're one of these bees, because vegans are just, oh,
Mm-hmm.
they're all vegans, they're all the same, they're these cancel people. Well, I think it's important we show that no, we're not. Like the
Yeah.
most majority of vegans are dealing with the same shit the general public is dealing with when it comes to this cancel,
Woke
really
culture. Yeah.
woke culture. We're dealing with it just as much, and it really sucks. And I think the only way to handle it properly is if we all stand up and say no. Get fucked. I think it's really important that the average person starts to stand up and say, no, well, I'm not what you say I am. You're just an idiot, and shut up. I'll keep saying what you're saying, but it shouldn't be listened to. It shouldn't be taken seriously. Because actually,
Well, okay,
yeah.
actually, I kind of disagree with you on that one. I've
Oh yeah.
learned another method in the past couple of years that really works wonders on them.
Oh
You
yeah. Go
ignore
for
them.
it.
Ignore them. That's it. They lose
Sure.
their mind. They lose their fucking mind. I've seen that like once on one of my posts. They like, I think what they do is they take one of my posts and they share it to this WhatsApp group where they have all of their friends there. And like, hey guys, Arvind said this. Now go comment this and like every single
Mm,
comment I make. So like one person puts a comment and out of the blue 80 likes they get. Like, so again, they live so much in the social media bubble that they
mm,
actually feel that if they come to a post I made on social media and they put
mm,
a comment and get likes there, that the point is right, and that for some reason now I should feel sad or bad or something. I like what Dave Chappelle said once. They tried to take
right.
me on Twitter and beat me up, but then I realized Twitter's not a real place.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one more thing. Because these people are also cowards. Because I've met these people who speak crap about me online. I met them
Right.
in real. I looked
Mm,
at them in the eyes. You know what they did?
right.
They looked down, looked away, and walked away. What kind of a cowardly move is that? I mean, you literally spew venom at me
Oh
online.
yeah.
I'm here with you in the flesh. Don't you want to say something to my face? Oh no, that's scary. They
Of
wouldn't do that.
course.
Like,
No, totally,
because
man. Totally.
I wouldn't harm anybody. Just saying, I would never physically harm anyone at all for any. You can speak whatever you want about me. I really wouldn't hurt you at all. I'm not that kind of a person, but they are scared because they realize that real life is not as safe as the online world. And one more point you made right now, which I want to show the irony, the
Right. Right.
people who say that we demonize slaughterhouse workers, when you made that example right now saying hitting a beehive with a stick, they'll
Uh-huh.
probably condemn you for that and say it's speciesistic. If
Yeah.
you call an animal as an it, wait, as an it, they'll say, oh my god, that's speciesistic. If I call someone in Tamil as like, hey naya, like, hey you dog, oh my god, that's speciesistic. But a person choosing to take a knife and shove it into the knife into the animal's throat, oh no, that's not speciesistic. They're a victim of the situation. They're victims. I
Mm,
mean, they should, for these people, apparently words speak louder than actions for some
right.
reason. Okay.
Right. Right. Right.
Because I'm
Yeah.
of the opinion that no matter what I speak or whatever anybody speaks, in their actions in the end, if they are non-violent, how is this person a problem to society? Like, you can just call them an idiot. You can say, oh my god, he's annoying, he's mental, he's crazy, keeps on babbling stuff. That's okay. He's still harmless. But what about the
Mm,
one who speaks so sweetly? Oh my God, I will never use speciesistic language. I will never use sexist language. But I will pay for people to forcefully impregnate animals, steal their babies from them, and kill the children, steal the milk, and then kill the mother as well. So which is worse? The one who doesn't use the language but still kills others, or the one who, despite using horrible language, doesn't kill others?
yeah.
Obviously, actions speak louder than words. So yeah,
What
these guys are
deserves
just
more? Yeah, yeah. The point is, what deserves more of your time? The person who doesn't
exactly.
align with you on every single political view, or the person who does align with you maybe, but is abusing animals, or the person who doesn't align with you and abuses animals? Who deserves most of your time? Probably the ones who are abusing
The
animals first and
and
foremost,
that's it.
and
Yeah.
work backwards to the vegans that you think have some, wait, I'm going to put this, problematic views. Work backwards to those vegans, because those guys,
Hmm, hmm.
why would you spend so much time on vegans who you think have don't agree with you on every single point, right?
Okay, right. And here's my question to you. So let's just,
Sure.
I'm a vegan, you're a vegan. Let's say I
Mm,
say something that's offensive. Why
yeah.
is it the need that they need to silence me? What about, hey, Arvind, I think you're wrong. Sit with us. Let's learn. Let's learn. So apparently, people who kill animals are victims, and they deserve a chance to change
Yeah.
their jobs, even though they murder. But me, who says a word, apparently should shut the fuck up forever now, forever. I don't deserve a
Oh
second chance
yeah.
to learn, even if I am wrong.
You
How
can
does that work
never
logically? So
you can never come back from it. But an animal, a meat eater, has unlimited chances to with a vegan. Like, vegan will keep
meat eaters,
spend
animal
years with
killers.
them.
Yeah,
Spend
I'm
years
talking about
with
animal
them.
killers.
Yeah. They'll spend years trying to convince them, and no matter what they say, it's okay.
They're
They're just
victims.
indoctrinated, and
See, the thing is this: you also understand that these people come from a real place of hatred. Now, another thing you need to
mm,
understand about them is that I also realized no one does this for no reason. Yes, there are people who just like drama and stuff, but if you notice, many of these people actually have been through probably some traumatic experience in their life that makes them hold a particular value. I'm probably sure some of them probably were abused as children, or probably had like they're probably walking in the street and some man walked up to them and tried to misbehave and stuff. So I understand why maybe they end up becoming a misandrist. It actually, to me, I kind of empathize on that. It makes sense.
mm,
But unfortunately, they just like they start looking at everyone that way. Like they do have a messed up childhood. They probably have a messed up background because many of them actually do
mm,
come forward and say like I've abused. I've read these posts like I've been abused at this point. I've been abused at that point. People used to keep making fun of me for this or that, and
mm.
at that time you kind of feel bad for them. Like oh shit, maybe they did go through something in their life that would you know lead them
Cause
to
this
behave this
behavior.
way. Yeah, yeah.
I, I
Doesn't
think the
justify the
issue.
behavior.
I think the issue is like, yeah, of course, people. I mean, but the thing is, Instagram, WhatsApp, Twitter, YouTube. This is not therapy, right? And I think these people need to stop treating it like
Yeah,
therapy.
yeah,
We don't. The world
yeah.
doesn't need you attacking it as your therapy, right? That is not
Right,
helping
right,
you, and it's
right.
not helping the world. Go and see if you can't afford to go see someone. Start writing, right? Write poetry, make music, do something to channel your these dark emotions, which you're valid in having, but don't channel them into against other people, and don't build a
Right, right.
following from hatred because you had a shitty start in life. It's not therapy. It's not helping you. These people, they're going to be the first ones to be like suicidal in the future because this is fake support. People will get sick of the hatred and the nastiness you're putting out there, and then you'll end up with no support, and your therapy will have gone. That's only gonna,
That's
it
true.
can't last forever. So
That's true.
you're only gonna end up in a worse position, and so deal with it now the right way, and stop. If that's you, if that's why they're doing it, they really need to get a better way of dealing with these things. But
And we can
it,
talk about something else if you want to right now, because I mean we've been going on for almost an hour just about them. Like it doesn't have to be that way.
I mean, usually I limit these to an hour, to be honest. But we can.
Okay.
So the main arguments I would say you get in India,
Mm-hmm.
as me living, I've been living in India, so I know as well. It's usually the okay. They get the Islam argumentation of the Quran says we can kill animals. You get the Hindu argumentation of the Hindu gods drank milk, and milk, cow is the mother, and milk has sorry, cow's pee has gold in it, and things like that. And the atheist position, which tends to be just a complete rebellion of Hinduism, right? I've found that if
Right.
someone's an
Right.
atheist, it's because they rebelled against Hinduism, and I've not met many ex-Muslim atheists in India. I met mainly ex-Hindu atheists, and they're like, "How don't you dare tell me that I can't eat meat because that's this Hindu bullshit." So tell us, you can give us, let's go through them one by one, and as you, as the Earthling out of India,
Okay.
how do you deal with them? So let's go first. Muslim. So I'm a Muslim. I've come to you, Arvind, and I'm like, hey, let's look, the Quran says I can kill animals and eat them. You're vegan is just Hindu bullshit, and I'm not a Hindu. Fuck you, I'm a Muslim. I'm gonna eat my biryani.
Okay, so the answer I'm going to say to you might shock you a bit. It's probably not what you expected, but I wouldn't respond to you if it's a DM, nor would I take part in a conversation with you in real life. I have been doing outreach right now for almost 5 years here in India. I do not engage with Muslims at all, ever. On the streets, when I
Okay.
used to give out pamphlets and stuff, never, ever. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. Okay, it's we need a completely different strategy to deal with that community because they just don't listen. I'm being honest. Like they don't listen at all unless you're talking about a Muslim who doesn't have a beard, doesn't wear the cap, is not wearing robes. If it's more of like this, a mod, like let's say they look like me, okay, like
Modern
look like me,
Muslim.
yeah,
Is like,
then I
yeah,
could try to
yeah.
talk to them with more rationality and reasoning. But in the end, if they keep saying, "Oh, but my book says so," my book says so, well, then I'll have to say to him, like, dude, come on, man, you don't listen to every single thing your book says for everything you do in your life. You don't do that. So
Mhm.
why is it only when it comes to harming animals are you doing so? But regardless, I want to say that I don't have many strong arguments to speak, you know, to convince a Muslim to go vegan because I have
Okay.
never done that, nor do I intend on doing it anytime in the future. So that's just
Okay.
me.
Okay.
So
So for an activist starting out, let's say, relatively inexperienced, who would need to learn these arguments, the advice
mhm.
is maybe your time is better spent on somebody who's like, if a traditional Muslim wants to talk to you about it, maybe don't have too big expectations for that conversation because it's a difficult religion to deal with. That's basically the
Yeah, because
message, right?
not only is it difficult to deal with, they sometimes become anti-vegan. Like for
Right.
example, I
Okay.
was once on the road and my friends we were writing in chalk piece in the streets like "Go vegan" and stuff, and this random Muslim dude came up and he's like, "Can I have a chalk piece?" I'm like, "Sure." I gave it to him, and he's there drawing an eggplant in the purple chalk and then writing next to it in Tamil, "Katrikayum kattum." That means even eggplants scream in pain. I'm like, "What the fuck are you like?" I just gave it to him because I thought, okay, he's asking for a chalk piece, give it to him. What's wrong with that? So
I mean, it's it's
and
a,
then
it's a as far as trolls go, that's pretty good. Like you gotta admit that's pretty good.
I'll give him that. I'll give him that. And once I remember speaking to a young couple about veganism on the street, and then this Muslim guy figured out what I was doing. He came next to me out of nowhere, stood next to me, facing the couple, and he was like, "Oh, plants feel pain. Do not believe these liars. Believe in the." I'm like, dude, why are you going out of? I didn't even
Wow.
ask you. I didn't even ask you to be a part of the conversation. He's
The
just going
plant
out of his way to come into this.
He's a plant
And
rights plant rights
plant rights
meta
activists.
activist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing was even the worst. I remember once we were at this park, me and my friends. This is like back in 2016 when I started doing outreaches and activism
Mm,
6 years ago at this point. So what happened was there was this man, I think his daughters, like five daughters were there, all of them are wearing a burqa and stuff. And
mm,
I walked up to them holding a pamphlet and I had this tabloid where I could show them a video. I said, like, excuse me, in Tamil I was asking them, would you like to see this video and stuff? And these five girls stood up. I'm not making this up. They stood up and they screamed like as if I was misbehaving, like "Ah!" like that. Okay. And the man stood up and told me like, "Go away from here. Do not come near my children. Go." And I was like, "Dude, I was just asking. Would you like? What do you think I could possibly do? Like, what am I so horrifying that you have to behave this way?" So look, they don't want to come out of the community. They
right.
don't want. In fact, there are. I'm sure this. You will even agree with this when it comes to England. There are many streets in London you wouldn't enter at this point. Am I right? There are Muslim-dominated areas you wouldn't even enter those streets, would you? Same thing exists here in
Mm,
India. Like they are a very tight-knit community within their
mhm.
community. They don't. They're very clear on this. We don't want to hear anything from you. Just
Okay.
leave us be. We don't
Okay.
want anything. So at this point, why should I try? So
Sure. Okay. Let's change lanes. So
yeah,
now we're
sure.
gonna now we're gonna Hindu. We're gonna Hindu, and
Yeah,
I'm
right,
I'm the Hindu now. Okay, so listen,
right.
I love animals too. I love cows. That's why I drink their milk. Okay, the cow is my mother, and their pee has gold in it. That's why I drink their pee as well. And look, these are my gods, and you're not going to convince me to stop drinking milk. It's a miracle food. It is blessed by the gods. It is to make my brain expand. It enlightens my spiritual powers. Drinking milk. Okay, so
Mhm.
why should I stop drinking milk? This is what I do. This is Hindu. This is Hinduism. I'm a
Okay,
Hindu.
okay. So to this person, actually, you have to kind of what I'm going to convey right now is not going to be the exact vegan ideology, but you can try to convince them to go vegan by kind of sacrificing that. What you have to say to them is, first of all, in our book, the Shastras, the Vedas, and everything, there is a method by which cows are supposed to be raised. It is said that first of all, a cow should be treated like the member of your own family, meaning which you don't tie her up. You don't put a hole into her nose to tie a rope onto her. You don't
Mm,
do any of that. You give her food, treat her like how you would a fellow family member, give her a huge land of pasture to graze upon. And then you also introduce a bull into that pasture. Now, if they choose to, by themselves, mate and the cow gets pregnant, let them do so. You have no right to interfere into any of this. And once that cow gives birth and that calf has its share of milk, if there's any milk remaining in the others and the mother cow permits you to take it, you are allowed to take so and then consume it. That is known as sattvic milk. Satvic milk. Sattvic basically means pure in Sanskrit. So that's pure milk. So if according to our scriptures, sattvic milk is allowed and sattvic behavior is said to be good for us. But we have to ask them, tell me of all the products you see on the supermarket shelves, be it milk, ghee, curd, cheese, butter, lassi, paneer, kulfi, ice cream, chocolates, anything. Do any of these come from Sattvic milk? Now, you will obviously agree and say no. So, if it doesn't come from Sattvic milk, then you must assure to me right now that you will never, ever, ever buy any single product you see out there on the shelves. Now, you may have many of these farms out there in this modern day and age claiming that they have ahimsa ways of raising cows, sattvic ways. So I would tell them, please go to a dairy farm yourself in person. Ask them the following questions. First of all, how many cows are here? Let them say there are 10, we have 10 cows. Okay. For how many years have you been raising these cows? For around 5 years. Okay, 5 years. That means, let's say you've made them pregnant 4 times. The first year they can't get pregnant. So from second year, 4 years, you've made them pregnant. That means 10 cows per year equals 10 babies over 4 years, 40 babies. Can I see those 40 babies right now? Oh no, you can't. Only some are here. Okay, where are the rest? Oh, some ran away. Some we sold them off to a farmer. I mean, he told he's going to use them to plow the field. That's not true. The moment you sell the baby from the mother, you're no longer engaging in ahimsa activities. It's very clearly stated. Our actions must not hurt the feelings of another. So even though if suppose sattvic milk could be produced by the vegan logic, that is still not vegan. We get that.
Mhm.
But then the
Mm.
point is that sattvic milk cannot be produced right now in this modern day and age because number one, it's not economically feasible, and number two, you cannot use it to feed the public. In order to feed over 1 billion Indians here in India, we have to engage in these violent activities. Without it, we cannot get the modern dairy that we do consume. Another point to note, and they say, is that Lord Krishna, which is one of our very devout, wonderful deities, as the ninth incarnation of Vishnu, he was a cow lover. And he used to love consuming ghee, butter, or any dairy products in his young age. So they asked, but Lord Krishna encouraged drinking milk. Why can't we do so? I tell them, well, yes. But understand that the time in which Lord Krishna lived is different to the time in which we live. So in Hinduism, we divide the ages in which human beings on the earth has existed into something called a yuga, Y-U-G-A. Yuga means a span of time. So right now we are in what the Christians call as Judgment Day time. That is the time of the rapture. It's over. We're all going to die right now. In
Right.
Hinduism, we call it as Kali Yuga, Kali space Yuga. So Kali Yuga means it's the end days time, and it's predicted in the Kali Yuga that the government will be corrupt, everything will be bad, there'll be animals won't be treated properly anymore, blah blah blah. So I'm telling them, listen, we are living in the Kali Yuga. Krishna lived, I believe, in the Dwapara Yuga. That was a yuga of peace, of love, of care for the cows and everything. You cannot compare his actions in the Dwapara Yuga to our actions today in the Kali Yuga. That's a different timeline. We're a different timeline. To use that and then support the violence we do to cows today makes you not a devotee of Lord Krishna. And if anything, in the Bhagavad Gita, which is the sacred text of the Hindus, it's written clearly. Krishna is saying, it doesn't matter, my devotee, whether you give me a leaf or a fruit or a twig or anything. As long as you offer me something in devotion, I will accept it. That's it. He never asked for pouring milk on his idol. He never said that. He said, you can give me water or a leaf or a twig or a flower or anything. As long as you give it to me in devotion, I accept. So, when Lord Krishna, the greatest lover of cows, himself would not agree with what we are doing, and our scriptures clearly ask for sattvic milk, what is your excuse not to be a vegan? Is what I would say to a Hindu. Big story, but yeah.
Lot of reasons, yeah, a lot of reasons to be vegan. Basically, it's like it's a really I think it's good because, like you said at the beginning, it's not necessarily a uh, what most vegans would consider to go to because mostly because not educated on Hinduism. But if you are
Mhm.
educated on Hinduism and you're talking to a Hindu on that level, it's really hard to argue against that. In a purely religious context, the solution to all these problems you put forward is just to stop consuming the dairy products and consume something else
Right.
instead because it cannot be done the way that the religion specifies it to be done. And I think that was very interesting. I never heard that before, to be honest. Let's do the atheist. So I've done the Muslim is quite aggressive, and the atheist will be quite aggressive too. The Hindu, I've never really met an aggressive Hindu when they talk about this. Is why my impression was a bit softer, but I've met very aggressive Muslims and atheists, and it
Mhm,
tends to
mhm.
be kind of the same kind of message too. How dare you tell me to not eat meat? Now, the atheist comes from an Indian atheist even comes from a similar perspective of they were usually raised Hindu, right? And now they reject that, rebel, and they go, fuck you, I've been told my whole life that I'm not allowed to eat meat, and now I'm eating all the meat and I'm really happy. Who are you, vegan? You're just another Hindu telling me to stop eating meat, get out of my face, leave me alone. So
See,
what about that then? How are you handling
sure.
that?
So first we have to look at context here. So an Indian atheist is usually a dumbass because the reason is these people are not atheists for rational reasons. They are not atheists because of scientific reasons. There is something known as a hipster factor. Be a hipster, be cool, just so you stand out.
Ah,
I'm
okay.
among a religious group, and I'm like, hey, I'm an atheist over here. I'm cool. That's the reason why majority of Indians are atheists, because an atheist should always be open to logical discussion, right? But I'm giving you should be like, as a scientific mind, you're like waiting for the next big discovery that humanity makes so you can expand your knowledge and learn more about this weird universe we live in. Shouldn't you be waiting for that? So when I provide you with some juicy new news and things you've never heard about and things that could prove you wrong and change your opinion, you should be like, wow, thanks, Arvind. As an atheist, as a rational thinker, I'd want to think that, but oh no, in the end, they are not rational thinkers. They are just simple minded organisms who love to shove things down their throat that can spike dopamine in their brain, while at the same time condemning easily. They like to hit the low hanging fruits of India, which is again Hinduism. Like you said, you have not met many aggressive Hindus. That's because the majority of Hindus are not aggressive. Of course, there are exceptions. There are crazy ones as well. But the majority of them are very open. Like when you were welcomed here in India, I'm sure the Hindu families, they would have welcomed you so nicely. They're actually very nice people here.
Mhm.
So the thing is that, but so when you condemn a Hindu, you don't get much repercussion for it, right? What are you going to do? I'm going to behead you? No, nothing. So the point is that, so they just like to do it because it's cool. It's the hip thing to do. That's why they're vegan. They're not here. So when I tell them, listen, when if suppose if an atheist looks in me in the eyes and tells me, oh, but a lion eats meat, I think you're a complete fucking idiot. I'll tell you, okay, do you know what is an appeal to nature fallacy? You understand why we should not compare our actions with the lions or base our actions based on what lions do, right? And they're like, oh, no, no, haha, Brahmin, Brahmin. Well, at that point, you're engaging in, what's the thing called? When you insult somebody. It's called,
Was intellectual dishonesty
not
because
just, no, no.
well,
If,
first off,
like, if my only argument against you was like I'm making fun of you, what's it called? That
oh,
thing.
ad hominem.
Ad hominem, exactly. So they're just engaging. So all of the reasonings that they give is either a fallacy of false equivalence, strawman fallacy. Like, see, if they stop attacking veganism. They begin to attack the messenger. So you're asking me what I would say to them. I would
Right,
first ask them what position they currently hold.
right.
Give them the fact and find out where the lie is existing, debunk it. And then I'll ask them, do you accept what you said before is wrong? I hope they'll say yes. If they say no, I'll walk away. If they say yes, then I'll proceed to look at the next one and next one. Because only to
Okay.
an open-minded atheist can I say this. As I told you, majority of the atheists here, like see, if you are an atheist and you make fun of, let's say, somebody like, you know who's Baba Ramdev?
Yeah, yeah,
The beard guy, yeah. So if
yeah.
he's a yogi guy and he does a lot of pseudoscientific, classic bullshit stuff. Okay, it's true. But if you're an atheist and you condemn him, you're hip. You get it? Like you're an Indian. You're like you're that. And more majority of the atheists in India come from Kerala. I would say Bengal. I'm not sure. Like mostly these two, I have seen, and even Tamil Nadu, yeah, where I live, there are a lot of atheists here. But then when you speak to them about animal rights and other logical stuff, they become complete utter idiots. They speak like complete buffoons. They are just people who are free from the religious bindings. That part has been, those shackles have been broken. That's it.
Mhm.
They are no longer slaves to others, but they don't mind enslaving others for themselves. So that they can't connect to that level,
So
unfortunately.
your challenge here to atheists watching this, which
Uh,
by the way, there could be a lot because I recently did a podcast with Science is Dope, Pranav from
that
Science
dude,
is
yeah, I
Dope.
saw that, yeah.
Yeah, which was great by the way. He's a very interesting guy and very funny. And a lot of his followers and subscribers are obviously atheists, like he is as well, an
Hmm.
atheist. So this what you're saying, although it's pretty offensive and pretty to the point, it is a challenge to those atheists to say, look,
Yeah,
if you don't want to be considered a dumbass, if you don't want to be considered somebody who looks stupid, then pay attention to the facts that are coming to you, the reality of what goes on with animals that vegans are bringing up. It's not linked with religion. It's not linked with being a I guess I was going to use the word pussy, but whatever. It's not linked with being a. I don't really like it, but whatever. It's not linked with just being some kind of pussy who's just too soft and compassionate to deal with the world. It's rooted in logic. It's rooted in what's good for animals. It's rooted in giving a shit about others and the logic of I don't need to do this. I don't need to put any animals through this horror, so I won't do it because it is a good thing to not hurt others. That's not wishy-washy religious stuff. That's just being
right,
a good person stuff. And I think most if you're a rational person, truly rational person, that will make sense to you, right?
right, right.
If you're not, if you're irrational, if you're an atheist who's just a hipster atheist, and actually you are not, you're still grounded in nonsense, but you're just saying you're an atheist, then that won't make sense to you. Then you'll be trying to call people I don't know, whatever, snowflakes or whatever, you'll be trying to say, oh, look at these silly vegan snowflakes without considering the actual logical, rational message in there.
See, an unfortunate thing is that like there's one famous atheist from Tamil Nadu. I even spoke about him in your previous podcast. His name is
Okay.
Periyar. He's the guy
Okay.
who spoke against casteism a lot in India, helped a lot of people. He's the guy who recommended many of the lower caste Hindus, told them convert to Christianity with the British. Rather, you be a Christian because it's worse being a lower caste in Hinduism than being a Christian. Like he was asking them either convert to Islam or Christianity or be an atheist because if you are in Hinduism, you're stuck with these Brahmins on top forever. They're never going to show any mercy on you. So this guy is definitely an atheist, very rational, logical in so many ways,
Hmm.
amazing person. I have massive respect for him. But what he says, and I don't know if he said this, but his followers do it today. They kill cows as a public event and eat their flesh just to piss off Brahmins.
Right. To
They don't
protest
do it.
the, yeah.
Because so when you say go vegan, it involves not eating meat and not eating dairy and eggs. I don't blame them too much. I understand the first thought for them is you must be a Brahmin. You
Right.
must be the evil person my ancestors spoke about who would one day come and do this to me again. I know what you're up to. So fair enough, you have your guard
Mhm.
on. So now it's about can we sit together and expand the points and look at the facts one by one. If you
Mm.
think what I'm saying is wrong, continue doing what you're doing. But if you agree it's right, then change yourself. So at this point, they just start engaging in ad hominem. Oh,
And
Brahmin,
I
Brahmin
guess
weakling,
even it's even worse because yeah, you've got this link with Brahmins who have this whole purity thing, which is like all
Mhm.
religion based and casteist based, and then you've got the West, which is veganism is booming in the West and mainly in like the UK and America, and especially if you look at the British, the UK, well, the history of the Brits in India is also really bad. So you've got a double whammy there. You've got this perception that Brahmin purity is pushing this, and then you wait a minute and look, it's big in England as well. Two groups that have oppressed us,
Yeah,
and they're both vegan, so they think maybe there's a link there, but
right,
it's kind
right.
of sad because there really isn't. It's not about purity or supremacy. It's the fucking opposite. We're trying to say like, no, we're not the best. We're not superior. That's why we're not doing this to animals. That's why we're trying to we're actually trying to do the opposite of what these purists did. We're not trying to raise ourselves up. We're actually trying to bring the animals closer to where we are, so to have a respect for them. Not bring them equal because that would be stupid, but bring them at least up a bit so that they're not just
Yeah,
treated
yeah,
like a fucking chair or a table. Like that's all. It's the opposite even of what they think. And obviously, don't get me wrong, there are some Brahmins, there are some people in the West who would go vegan up for purity reasons to be superior. Of course there are, but that's not the majority at all. That's not the reason the majority of people go vegan. It's not some purity bullshit. It's out of a respect and a realization that animals, they feel, they think, they have families, they have just like me, and I don't want to put them through anything horrible. Like it's actually completely it shouldn't be like it's not about self-importance. It's actually about realizing you're not that important. It's actually
right,
realizing, wait a
exactly,
minute,
exactly.
which is an atheist exact thing. That's what atheism is. You're not that important. You're not God's children. You're just here with all the other animals. Atheism should be completely aligned with veganism because that's what we
Right,
say.
right.
No, we're not God's children. Like, a lot of vegans say we're not God's children. We're just here with the animals. That's why we don't have the right to do with this to them. Every atheist should be vegan, and
In fact,
a
I
lot of
even have
vegans
a
are
video.
atheists.
Yeah, I have a majority of vegans, not majority, I say a lot of vegans are atheists. But
A
in fact,
lot of
I even have
vegans,
a
yeah.
video on my channel that says vegan. I think veganism versus atheism. I made a video like around a year and a
Mm,
half ago, so people can check that out if they want to, because
yeah,
it's for the Indian audience. I've debunked every single thing. The point is that if you claim to be rational, you have to be vegan. Like there is no logical. I've tried searching. There isn't a single logical argument for being a non-vegan. But then again, there isn't a single logical argument for molesting a child. There isn't a single logical argument for beating up gay people. These don't exist. They don't. They're all illogical arguments. So that's the whole
mhm.
point. This is a social justice movement for animals, which unfortunately right now the people spearheading it happen to be white people and Brahmins. So what can I do?
Yeah,
That just so happens to be the case. Okay. So if
yeah.
Yeah, so like you said, like it's a double whammy. Like like they're the double on defense right now. When they see both
Yeah,
you and me,
absolutely.
oh God, the two biggest devils together right now. So,
That's
so
the two biggest devils.
yeah, I can no. Look, I kind of understand how they perceive us. I can understand that,
Sure, sure,
which
sure.
is why I hope there will soon be more vegans from different castes and different communities and different groups coming up
Mm,
and speaking up about veganism in a very unapologetic manner and educating them as well. Because, like I said, no matter here's the thing. You know something? No Brahmin would listen to me. Like, majority of Brahmins are devout because I am not a Brahmin myself. I don't behave like one. I
mhm,
don't carry myself like one at all. So they wouldn't. But I appeal to this very niche crowd of people I'd say in India. I don't even know whom I appeal to.
mhm.
But I would, if there is a Brahmin vegan that comes up tomorrow and starts, doing the mantras and then he takes his shirt off and speaks wearing all these, the saffron
Yeah,
markings on his
yeah,
body,
yeah.
I would support that 100% because he can actually reach out to millions of people that you and I can't. I would
Mhm,
also support if a Dalit person came out and spoke about veganism unapologetically. If anybody,
mhm.
a Muslim came out, it matters. Like we need people from various communities to come out and speak about this. Only then more people will
Absolutely.
start listening. We have to encourage that.
And one group we have kind of in this podcast, I guess, mainly spoken a little bit not so well about, not so nicely about the
Mm,
Muslim community. There are some absolutely fantastic Muslim vegan speakers. I think we just need to acknowledge that for anyone who thinks that we were saying they don't exist. No, they fucking do, and they constantly threatened,
mhm,
like
mhm,
all
mhm.
day, every day. And yet they continue. There's Muslim vegans in Pakistan. There's Muslim vegans in India, and other parts of the world as well, where it's a little bit less dangerous. But especially
True, true,
India and
true.
Pakistan, it's fucking dangerous to speak like this. Um,
Bangladesh as well.
Bangladesh, yeah. So just full props to those people. Like
Yeah,
incredible.
definitely,
It's
definitely.
such a
Yeah,
hard
mad
job.
props to you.
Such a hard job. Um, Absolutely, and we do need. Wow, yeah, we do really do need more people, especially in those communities, because they need the support against this backlash. Which we get backlash. I get backlash. You get backlash, but I don't think our backlash comes even anywhere near the comparison to what they have to go
Yeah.
through.
So that
Speaking
was
up,
exactly the point I was making through the entire video. Like you and me, even if we say something against our communities, we still get to keep our heads on our shoulders. That's
right?
a big thing, apparently, because they really don't. They don't. It's a very
Hmm.
big risk for them. So yeah, mad props to any
Absolutely.
Muslim out there who is doing activism. Like, well, I really don't know how I could even help you because in the end, you are caught within your community. How can you even escape? Like, it's very hard for them. Like
I just
even
yeah,
Sam
I
Harris,
just
the atheist Sam Harris, he once made like I think a small speech, like a speech. He's saying like it's very, I don't know how it's going to happen, but all of the Muslims who are a bit more, not so conservative, a bit more liberal and free-thinking Muslims have to somehow find a way to convince their conservative friends and family to slowly change. There is no other way
absolutely.
out of this. It's up to them. There's no other way out of this, unfortunately.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's rough. It's really rough. But the people who are doing it, they're doing incredible work and they're brave as fuck. I don't know if I could be so brave if I were in their position, to be totally honest
I
with you. It's
agree. Yeah, yeah,
scary.
yeah. That's very true.
It's
That's very true.
scary. It's scary. And dude, mad props to you, man. I mean, look, it doesn't take away from the work you're doing. You still put
Uh,
yourself out there. You've also spoken against some prominent, well, at least Zakir Naik, so it is still risky, and the stuff you do is great, and I hope to see a lot more of it as well across
yeah,
YouTube,
definitely.
across Facebook. I hope to see you get back out there and doing more of these. I really enjoyed the videos where you're talking to young people, giving lectures and stuff. I
Uh,
think they were great, and find that really interesting because I've also been to schools and I know the kind of it's
yeah,
always fun in schools and colleges. They give you pretty cool questions. And I think it's for an adult watching a video of you talking to. I feel like it's easier to digest because it's kind of like the kids ask the questions that an adult would be too scared. They feel like they're asking a stupid
yeah,
question,
yeah.
but the kids don't care. They just ask a stupid question and it's funny. So I think I really like those, man. So I hope you can get out and do some more of those at some point. I really,
I will try. Now that the schools
yeah,
and
yeah,
colleges are reopening here in India, I can
great.
definitely make an effort for that. Yeah,
Yeah, I recommend it, dude. I think that's a really good medium because, as
I
I
agree.
said, kids ask funny questions, but the adults also want to know the answer, right?
That's
But
true.
they would
That's true.
never
That is
ask
true.
it in a funny way. So, dude, yeah, keep it up. Thanks for coming on. It's been great to have you
Sure,
here.
man. Thanks for
We've,
having me.
I feel like we've dealt with a lot. We're
Oh
giving
yeah.
people a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I did not expect today the entire majority of the conversation would go into that. It doesn't matter. Just free flowed into that. So
Hey, it is what
It
it
doesn't
is,
matter.
man.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
passionate about what we're passionate about, and I'm sure there'll be some passionate comments too. It's what it's all about, dude. At the end of the day, if you're gonna talk about things, if you're gonna put stuff out on YouTube, I believe you should be bold. You should say
Hmm.
what you really fucking think. Don't hold back, and let the cards
No, I
fall
think
as
it's
they fall. You
important that
know?
we, yeah, it's important we speak the truth as it is, because only
Absolutely.
then the genuine people who are watching it will they be like, okay, I finally have an answer for something I've been questioning myself for so long. Like,
Yeah.
because everyone they look at, they understand that the answers are always, oh my god, so politically correct. So, like,
Yeah.
we have to watch our words. Like, no, just give out the bloody answer. Like,
Man, too many
speak what's
politicians
truly in
out
your
there.
heart. Yeah,
Too many
yeah. So,
politicians out there these days. I feel like almost the entire social, well, not the entire, but a lot of the social media world is just full of impartial opinions and political kind of, oh, I'm just trying to like play all sides to make sure nobody hates me.
hmm.
Like, come on, what the fuck happened? I mean, nobody wants to get banned. That's the problem. But I mean, I don't know, man. We need to. This is a whole other conversation, but we need to get more firm in our beliefs again and like put our opinions out there, put what we believe out there, and then have disagreements and discussions and stop being scared of getting cancelled. And
No, that's
that's
true. That's true.
one way we're going to change this and stop this people having this power to cancel you is just to just charge forward regardless of what happens, I guess, which is I
Sure.
think we've both had some experience with that. But dude, we'll do it again. We'll do it again sometime. And
Sure. Definitely.
yeah, we'll keep in touch.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Nice
coming
talking
on,
to you,
man.
man. It's nice talking to you. Yeah.